Today, other interesting political news, you have Ford's seventh offer to the UAW, but they probably, of course, will not take it because they want the moon. Again, the original ask from the UAW was $80 to $100 billion over the course of the 4.5-year contract. So $80 to $100 billion the companies are making in profit between 12 and 25. I think GM actually hit $27 billion in profit. So they would make no profit or negative profit, which maybe it's like Trump's are the deal. You ask for the world, but then you can see it. But for weeks, they really haven't given up much. So, and again, this is a very fluid negotiation situation. Every hour, sides are giving things up. I mean, again, this is their seventh offer to the UAW. But the UAW wants a lot of things that earlier had caused GM and Chrysler specifically to go bankrupt in 2009. Those are contributing factors to the bankruptcy, really huge absorbent costs that are not competitive in the US or anywhere in the globe, to be quite frank. That's why companies like Honda, Toyota, they're cheaper for the cost of labor, and the products, again, those products will last a quarter of a century or a million miles. That's one of those things. Where would you put your money if you're an investor? Again, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just simply pointing out the fact that the company with a lower cost of goods has a vehicle that's more reliable on average. Look at pretty much any consumer report or any long-term report. And I don't know how much the UAW could really push before they put themselves out of existence. Now, it looks like this, again, the seventh offer from Ford. And historically speaking, Ford just has the best relations with the UAW. They have the greatest number of workers that are part of the UAW. They also, on average, pay a little bit more than Stellantis in particular. And this offer right now is a 20% pay raise, which again, when's the last time you got a 5% or 10% pay raise? Most people I know these days most companies are laying people off right now because of the economic uncertainty and the inflation that was caused by the government, ironically, by people that the UAW endorsed and helped fund to get elected. Now, Ford, again, they're offering a 20% increase, which, again, over the 4-year contract, I don't know anyone who's gotten that great of a deal in life. And again, the cost in aggregate, even just that, it's going to be a staggering cost. Now, not only do they offering that, they also increased their 401k, as well as a 5-week vacation, which is insanely good. Now, it looks like in terms of some of the contract negotiations, some of the communications, you also had CEO Jim Farley critiquing the UAW for wanting to dictate how they make business decisions around the battery plants. Because, of course, the UAW, some people compare them to the Chicago mob. I would never be, of course you could never do that, even if they use very similar methodologies and cultures. But nevertheless, I would say it's very interesting the UAW wants to dictate that. Well, partially because those plants are not unionized, so they're going to be more efficient, which, again, is what Ford needs. If Ford really wants to compete with Tesla, they're going to have to do some very innovative things, very costly things. They're going to need a lot more computer science engineering degrees and less people making $65, $75 an hour to put a tire in a car, which I'm not joking. That literally was a use case for a GM employee a couple years back. And yes, I understand in the comments that does include their healthcare, their dental, their Banana Falcon healthcare, whatever they want to call it. But when it comes to the price of how much it costs the company to put it into the vehicle, that's what's affecting you when you go out to purchase something made by the UAW. If you're purchasing something that's made by Big Three, the last cost analysis estimates you're spending about, I believe, $2 to $3 grand more than competition just because it's made by a union member. Keep in mind, companies like Honda and Toyota have American workers making exceptionally reliable vehicles, and that costs a fraction for the labor. So it'll be interesting to see, in terms of giving them a 20% pay raise, it's not enough. Now, the last, again, it's going back and forth, high frequency, but one of the last reports I heard was that the UAW is still wanting around a 30% increase, which, again, I don't know anyone who's gotten that much of a pay increase. And that's just for the wages. They still want the other things that help make companies go bankrupt, like pensions, which, again, I know one company in Texas that has a pension that's in the private sector. Unfortunately, because it's not profitable. It's something that was very popular back in the day, but throughout the years, very few businesses can afford it. Partially because I blame the government for taxing businesses at a huge corporate tax rate, which, again, if people want it to be paid more, I would say vote differently. Ideally, maybe Libertarian or Republican, someone, well, there's a lot of rhinos, so that's no longer a safe bet either. But vote for someone who says we're going to slash the corporate tax rate so they can give their employees more money. I mean, people don't realize By the time an employee gets their paycheck, it's been taxed every which way. It's ridiculous and disgusting. But again, perhaps my ideas are just too radical for DC. What? Lower taxes and give people more money? Well, that's just crazy, some might say. But nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see. Also, maybe the UAW changes their. Well, they won't. It's been, I believe, about 100 years of them making political donations to the same party. I doubt they've learned their lesson or they'll change it anytime soon. Let me know in the comments if you think differently. But do you think they'll actually accept Ford's 7th offer? I can't but think no, because again, they have about $820 or $850 million sitting in the bank, where that's just money for them specifically set aside for a strike. So they have plenty of funds and plenty of reasons not to go back to work. And again, if you're a worker, imagine making $500 a week just to hold a sign. That's awesome. I mean, I've worked a lot harder and earned a lot less throughout my life. So it'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments if you think the strike will end or if it'll just keep going, and even if they'll accept this. I can't help but think, I doubt they'll accept this offer. But maybe I'm wrong. Rumor is it's happened time to time. Thank you everyone for taking the time to do it in today. I really appreciate your support. Also, if you take the time to click that subscribe button. I know it's ambitious, but we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of October. So every one of those clicks especially helps. Also, the critical feedback is also appreciated if you take the time to comment. I always try to take the time, even if it's a day or two late, to read and respond to your comments because I do appreciate the feedback as we try to make the show better and better. Also, lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.